Yahmor is still targeted by drone strikes and airstrikes. And we can understand why the Israelis are focusing on Yahmor and its outskirts, because it overlooks the line of valleys that goes from Dar Mimas, Kfarkila, which is called Wadi al-Azziya, until the outskirts of Taybeh and Rubbat Latin. But it's still the same line of valley, and this is the geographic line of defense.
Hey everybody, this is Laith Marouf from Free Palestine TV. Before we continue with this video, I'd like you to press the subscribe button on whatever social media platform you're watching this, and to go to our website, freepalestine.video, to donate so we can continue bringing you these field reports from the West Bank and Lebanon. We are right now in the south of Lebanon on the road between Yahmor and Arnoun. This is the Arnoun Natural Reserve behind me here, and on that side is the fort, the famous fort that we visited before with you, the Beaufort in the Sha'if area. The region here, although it's north of the Litany River, has been the target of the largest amount of attacks by the Zionists through tanks shelling, through bombardment by air, through drones. It is, although, as I said, it's north of the Litany, it's as if the war never stopped here. We're going to go today to check on some of the areas that were targeted and to speak to the locals about the effects of this war. We are in Yahmor village. This is a village that has been bombarded by the Israelis non-stop, even since the beginning of the quote-unquote ceasefire. But we're very surprised that right now the locals, residents, already began reconstructing their homes. Let's take a look at this house where the owner is rebuilding his garden. You can see some of the trees were blown off and cut off, and the whole front garden has been destroyed. But the resident, the local owner, is now reconstructing it, and he has planted all these new trees on the fence to make up for the trees that were damaged by the Israeli attack. The fact that the residents are rebuilding their homes, although the village has been attacked almost on a daily basis since the beginning of the quote-unquote ceasefire, shows the resilience of the residents and their determination to return to their villages and rebuild them and not be intimidated by the Zionists on the other side of the border. Obviously, on the other side of the border, the colonists are still scared to return to their colonies on the border, even with enticement by the Zionist authorities. They have refused to return. Less than 20% of them have returned, although, as we see here, almost every house, people have returned to their village. So we are in Yahmor village. We have with us local resident Ali. We're going to be speaking to him a little bit about the situation in the village. Ali, thank you very much for hosting us here. Tell our viewers a little bit about Yahmor, its location, how close it is to the border with occupied Palestine. What's the importance about it?
Yeah, welcome to Yahmor. This village, small village, it's far from Beirut, about 75 kilometers. We was in the middle in the war here since the 8th of October 2023. They destroy a lot of building and houses.
We're standing on beside what used to be
Exactly.
the local health clinic
Health
here,
clinic, yeah, yeah.
where a doctor and 4 nurses
Yes,
were martyred in this attack.
exactly, exactly. There were daily strikes on the village and its vicinity. 8 civilian was killed here in the village, and 25 houses are destroyed, like you see here in the village. Not only this place, many places they destroyed it in the eastern, western.
And since the quote-unquote ceasefire, how has been the situation in Yahmor?
Since the ceasefire, Yohmor was and still the most bombarded village in the Nabatiya governorate. We can recall a drone strike not long ago, which caused the loss of 2 lives and 4 injuries. Also, 10 days ago, a heavy airstrike destroyed 2 houses in the eastern of the village.
So since the ceasefire, most people in Yahmor returned to their homes?
Mostly they come back, yeah.
And we saw some people rebuilding their homes.
Exactly.
And as we can see from here, people have already tilled the earth,
Yeah.
and they're back growing their crops.
Exactly.
And
And start and plant and clean all the areas. Even they start to clean all the building who not destroyed completely. They start to clean the road, and the village is coming small back to life again. This Yahmor, and not only in our village here in Yahmor, in all south of Lebanon.
well, inshallah, Yahmor gets rebuilt bigger and stronger than before, and the people of Yahmor and the south of Lebanon come back to their homes and rebuild them. Thank you very much, Ali, for having us.
Welcome. Welcome.
Ali is a school child from the village here of Yahmor. Ali, as a child of school age, how was this war on you? How did you feel during this war?
I feel so scared when the helicopters come, throw bomb everywhere. Look there, all this the school, and we go fast, and the helicopters throw bombs all on the
The homes?
yes.
During the war, what happened to your studies? You were going to school, or you had to? No.
We study online.
Online.
Yes.
And your school is near in the village or in a different village?
No, near.
Near. And was it targeted? Did they hit it, the Israelis?
Beside.
Just beside it.
Yeah.
So there was some damage in the classes.
Yes.
And now
All the glasses.
all the
broken.
glass gone. And now you're back to the same school?
Yes.
They fixed it up.
Yes.
So alhamdulillah, the people in the village were able to fix it up. Did any of your classmates and or teachers or workers in the school, did they get martyred? Anybody got killed from the school?
Yes.
Yes. And how is the feelings of the students together now coming back to the school? How's the solidarity and love?
They are so happy together and play and feel fun. They forgot what.
They forgot.
Yes.
Because the Lebanese people are used to being always attacked by the Israelis. Is that how you feel it?
Every day.
And I know you must be online, right? And you're in contact playing with other children from other parts of the world.
Yeah.
Do people talk to you? Do the other children ask you about what's happening in Lebanon? Do you feel that they're interested in what's happening to the children here?
Yes. My friend in Qatar always talk with me, ask me what happened every day in our village.
And do you feel the children outside Lebanon that you interact with, stand with Lebanon, stand with the children of Lebanon, understand how
Yes,
your
yes,
life?
of course. They stand with us.
These 16 months, 17 months of war, what's something that stick in your memory from them?
When I'm going here, uh, bomb there, and I see the yes, and bomb there, and all the rocks came here.
And you were walking on the
Yes,
street?
no, in the car,
Mm.
on the car, here, there, and I don't forget this. I can't forget it. And
Yeah.
what? And when we go there, and the Christians, they didn't let us sit there in our dorm. They kick us and don't sit in our there. So we change our place and then go to the Christians, and they take us. And we sit together there in 2 months. Yes.
What's the name of the village?
It's Zgharta.
Zgharta. So you had to move during the war to Zgharta, where they accepted you. What is, now as a child, what's your worry for the future? What worries you for the future?
Israel don't kill all the Shia people and still be strong Shia. And don't kill all the people and be no one in this village.
Do you plan to live here when you grow up?
Yes, of course. I love to sit here in my village with my dad and my mom.
If you want to say anything for anyone who's gonna be watching from the West or even from Lebanon, what's the message that you're gonna say to this?
The message, and don't forget Shia people, they are all go and from their village, they bomb all the village and they help us, and don't forget Shia people.
Do you think that the Israelis are targeting Shia because they are Shia or because something else?
Because something else, and Shia. Because Hezbollah and Shia.
How it's because Hezbollah? Explain it to me.
Because we are helping Gaza and they don't love Palestine. They don't love. So they kill us because we are helping Gaza. So, like,
Do you have any message for the people from your age in Gaza who are right now also suffering attacks, and they have the same feelings and the same life expectation that you had, but now also they are being bombarded and they are being killed by the Israelis until now? Do you have any message for them? Do you like
yes,
to
and
tell
don't be
them?
scared because you are going to a place better than this place. Because Israel don't love you and don't love us.
Do you think that your generation will accept any normalization with the Israelis?
Abbas Barakat, you are a student from the village of Yahmor. How did the war affect your education?
The school is stopped in the war. That's true.
So how many months did you lose from
3
education?
months.
3 months. And then you went online?
Yes.
Okay. And now you're back to the
Yes.
the school that you're
Yes.
perfect. How do you feel this war affected your life in general here in the village?
A lot of our people died. Then a space and our life had been cancelled.
And attacks on the village since you came back until you came back after the ceasefire
Yes.
immediately.
Yes.
And there's been a lot of attacks on the village since you came back.
Yes.
How does this make you feel? How does this affect you?
I feel bad and angry.
And some of these attacks were close to your home,
Yes. About 50 meters.
and your home was damaged.
No.
No, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Abbas, for giving us the time.
Thanks.
Sarah, thank you very much for having us with you here from Yahmor village. You are a
pleasure.
PhD student?
I'm a master's student.
Master's student.
I just got graduated.
Perfect. And you were outside the country during the war or inside?
No, inside.
Okay, so when the war started here in Yahmor, you were in the village?
No, I was at my aunt's Bensar, which is another village that got bombed.
Okay, and how did this affect your studies?
Well, I'm currently doing an AI boot camp, so I'm studying it all online. Well, technically, we have the ability to study by the internet connection and stuff. It got affected, but on a personal level, in the mentality and the mindset, I couldn't focus at all because I'd be studying and then I hear the sounds of the rockets or the bombs, which is very hard for any human being to focus in such circumstances.
And do you feel that the village can recover from this war? How are the citizens in the village behaving since the ceasefire started?
I would say we can. It's definitely difficult because we're still hearing some bombs here and there on the outskirts or even inside the village. But we're survivors as Lebanese, so we continue our lives as if there's nothing happening because there's no other option for us, I would say, but to continue living.
And do you feel that the world, how it reacted to the attack on Lebanon, was that something you expected, or did you feel that there could have been better way that the world dealt with the attack on Lebanon?
Well, on a personal level, I feel like it's okay, which is a bit weird, but so I studied abroad and I was studying abroad during what's happening. So I've seen a lot of protests and I've seen how people are working on it. But at the end of the day, you can feel that people in power are doing what they want to do. And I'm not surprised. Yeah.
And you're going to go and continue your studies abroad,
Hopefully.
but you want to come back to Lebanon and do your work here, back to the village when you finish your studies?
Well, of course. So I've taken a lot of scholarships before. So some of my scholarships are to study in Lebanon, such as AUB, or like some are to study abroad. So in every one of my scholarships, one of my major goals is to rebuild my country because I believe we have a lot of strong minds in here, but not a lot of opportunities. So it depends on us, the future leaders, if you can say, to work more on giving back to our country because it deserves.
Well, we hope and wish for you the best in your
Inshallah.
studies, inshallah, and when you come back, inshallah, you'll be one of those who rebuild Lebanon.
Inshallah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Laith.
Hadi, this was our second visit to Yahmor, Shaqif in the south of Lebanon since the beginning of the war. But it's the first time that we had the chance to actually speak to locals and get them to tell our audience about what they're having to live through. Maybe a question that's on the mind of some of the people that don't know the geography of South Lebanon is why Yahmor is a target still today of Zionist attacks. Can you explain that a little bit to the audience?
Well, of course, it was noticeable that Yahmor was still receiving heavy fire even after the alleged ceasefire started, and until our very days, it's still targeted. I won't say on daily basis. For example, today it wasn't targeted, but yesterday and the day before, there were some shellings around the area, and even today it was reported that a failed drone strike happened in a place that is near Yahmor, which is Kfar Tibnit. It's between Kfar Tibnit and Yahmor. So basically, the area is still under heavy monitoring from the Israeli drones daily, and it was bombarded by, it was attacked by artillery shelling many times. I remember counting more than 80 to 90 artillery shell last week when I was like searching for the numbers. And the outskirts of Yahmor, of course, it's this. When we say the outskirts of Yahmor, we mean the valleys, because now we're going to talk about the location of Yahmor. Also, it received many airstrikes. We're talking about heavy airstrikes after the ceasefire, the alleged ceasefire started. And I think that I'm going to stop using the word ceasefire. It's like a continuous war in different
from one side.
form. Yeah, it's a one-side war now. Of course, it's more diluted in terms of like attacking the center of the villages and the houses and everything, and in terms of like attacking civilians. But it's still going and still attacking civilians. So the last strike that happened and killed 2 Syrian people in South Lebanon. Of course, when we're talking about 2 Syrian workers who were working near the river and near the Litany river, well, the Israelis simply, we were told by the locals that one understanding of why these workers were targeted is because the Israelis found 2 people on motorcycle, on 2 different motorcycles, by the way. It wasn't one strike, it was 2 strikes against 2 different motorcycles that were away from each other, and they were 2 brothers. They were targeted because the Israelis simply decided that, okay, 2 young men on motorcycles driving in the valley of Yahmor is dangerous to the national security of the occupational regime. So they just targeted them and murdered them. And of course, they weren't Hezbollah militants. So it's still going against, the war is still going against civilians, against, and this is a war crime basically. And nothing justified targeting these 2 people, despite the Israelis always talking about targeting Hezbollah militants who were designated by them as a threat to Israel. So Yahmor is still targeted by drone strikes and airstrikes, and we can understand why the Israelis are focusing on Yahmor and its outskirts, because it overlooks the line of valleys that goes from Dar Mimas, Kfar Kila, which is called Wadi al-Azziya, and it goes until the outskirts of Taybeh and Rabih Latin, and we're talking about, of course, it's far to the south of Lebanon, but it's still the same line of valley, and this is the geographic line of defense for South Lebanon, for the resistance. Because the first line of defense, of course, it's the villages that, the line of villages was drawn by Sykes-Picot, but it wasn't geographical, it wasn't related to the topography of South Lebanon. So it's not based on valleys, mountains, hills. It's just villages. Some of these villages, from my point of view, it can't even be defended, like Adaisi and Kfar Kila. And the fact that the resistance was able to defend these villages until sometimes some of these villages resisted the invasion until the half of the 2nd month of the war. And one of the, for example, in Adaisi, the resistance was able to target, to ambush an Israeli commandos unit and to kill 16 soldiers of the elite soldiers in the, I think it was the Nahal brigade, in an ambush. And it was reported that none of the resistance fighters were injured in this ambush, and they were able to withdraw, but after killing 16 Israeli soldiers. If you can see the geography of this area, it's completely clear, in a clear side to the Israeli side, because the Israelis have the upper side of the border. Of course, you can expect this when the colonial powers have drawn the border line between Lebanon and occupied Palestine, that they will give Israel the upper, the higher ground. And this was one main problem for the resistance in this war, that the higher ground was for the Israelis and the hills were overlooking Lebanon. And now the Israelis are, you remember, and we saw today the Azzi hill and the Awida hill, that the Israelis want to stay, they want to keep these hills for themselves, because these were the only hills, despite they are inside the Lebanese part of the border, but they are the only hills that are still overlooking occupied Palestine. So they want to deprive the resistance from these hills, because they don't want anyone to be able to overlook Palestine, because of course this means that this will be able to help the resistance in gathering information and in launching direct attacks, maybe against some places in the colonies and the borders, or let's say the military bases also on the borders. And it was used during the war to target the occupation and to retaliate for the attacks against Lebanon.
Yahmor is kind of in the middle of the Lebanese-Palestinian border in terms of from east to west. It's in this middle sector, and
it's not in the middle sector. It's in the eastern sector to the inner side of the eastern sector. So it's not like Kfarkila or like Khiyam. It's in the middle of the eastern sector, we can say.
Yes. But you know, when you look at the geography of the line, it looks like it's in the middle, kind of around the middle, but it's counted as if it's part of the eastern sector. Yes. So it is located in a very important place.
Of course.
And of course, as you said,
it overlooks Taibe, Ahdaisi, Deir Mimas, Kfarkila, the valleys of Azziye and the valleys aligned with this valley. And these, if you remember, for example, the place where the Israelis tried to reach Litany and take a photo near the Litany in the last days of the war. It was like just a show for the colonists that okay, now we reached Litany finally. It was of course 3.5 kilometers away from the border. It was in the nearest point to the Litany from the border to the occupied Palestine. But this place is directly under Yahmor. So Yahmor kind of it's 1 kilometer away from Yahmor, but it's directly in the valley that is under the outskirts of Yahmor. So basically the Israelis knew that if they want to dominate the area, they want to make sure that Yahmor will face destruction, and the people of Yahmor will be more basically afraid, terrorized after the attacks that are continuing against Yahmor, especially that Yahmor was not used to attack the occupation, to attack Israel and the military bases during the ceasefire period now. But the Israelis are keeping these attacks against Yahmor only because I believe that they want to make the people of Yahmor afraid of staying with the resistance and keeping the soul of the resistance in Yahmor. They are doing this everywhere, but they are focusing on Yahmor because it overlooks these important parts of the eastern sector, the sector where the Israelis, of course, faced the major the strongest resistance and the major battle of al-Khiyam, that was a very important battle during the war. It happened in the eastern sector, and Yahmor is basically only like 3 kilometers away from, I guess like it's the outskirts of Yahmor can reach a place where it's like only 3 to 4 kilometers away from Khiyam, and also it directly overlooks Khiyam. So despite the long distance in kilometers, it directly overlooks Khiyam and the line of sight, and it's very close to it in terms of like there are only one village between when we say Yahmor, we're talking about Dermimez, then the valley of Khiyam, then Khiyam.
This was Laith Marouf with Hadi Hotait from the south of Lebanon. Visit our website, freepalestine.video, to donate so you can continue watching this content from the field in Lebanon and the West Bank. So visit all our social media platforms, subscribe. Until we see you next time, we bid you all a free Palestine.